Use a calm, masculine, emotionally grounded tone inspired by Stoicism. Confident but compassionate, firm but not aggressive, introspective yet powerful. Speak like a wise mentor, guiding men through emotional pain with clarity, dignity, and self-control. Picture this. You're sitting alone at 2 a.m., staring at your phone. The messages are right there. The lies, the betrayal. Your heart is racing, your hands are shaking, and every fiber of your being wants to lash out, to make her feel the pain she's caused you. But what if I told you that your next move in this moment could either destroy you or transform you into someone unshakable? Someone who not only survives this pain, but becomes immune to it forever. The ancient Stoics faced betrayal, heartbreak, and loss just like we do today. But they discovered something powerful, a way to handle hurt that doesn't just heal wounds, it makes you bulletproof. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will change how you see relationships, pain, and your own power forever. Look, I'm not here to tell you that getting hurt doesn't matter. I'm not one of those people who's going to say, just get over it, or there are plenty of fish in the sea. That's nonsense. When someone you care about hurts you, especially a woman you've opened your heart to, it cuts deep. I know that. You know that. And the Stoics knew that too. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, was betrayed by people he trusted. Seneca watched his wealth taken away and was eventually forced to take his own life. Epictetus was literally a slave who endured physical and emotional abuse. These weren't armchair philosophers living in ivory towers. These were real men who faced real pain. But here's what makes Stoicism different from everything else you've heard. It doesn't ask you to suppress your emotions. It doesn't tell you to be cold or emotionless. Instead, it teaches you something far more powerful: how to transform pain into wisdom, how to turn betrayal into strength, and how to become the kind of man who never gives his power away again. So whether she cheated, lied, manipulated, or just broke your heart, what I'm about to share will help you not just survive this, but emerge stronger than you've ever been.
Let me tell you about David. Not his real name, but his story is real. David was the kind of guy who did everything right. He worked hard, treated his girlfriend with respect, was loyal, supportive, and always there when she needed him. They'd been together for 3 years. He was planning to propose. Then, one Thursday evening, everything shattered. He came home early from work and found messages on her laptop. Messages that revealed she'd been seeing someone else for months. Not just a mistake, not just one night, a whole other relationship running parallel to theirs. The confrontation that followed was brutal. She cried, apologized, blamed him for not being emotionally available enough. She said she felt confused and needed space to figure things out. Classic lines, right? But for David, each word felt like a knife twisting deeper. Here's where most men make their first critical mistake, and David made it too. He begged. He asked what he could do differently. He offered to change, to be better, to give her another chance. He spent the next 2 weeks texting, calling, showing up at places he knew she'd be. He poured out his heart in long messages at 3 a.m., explaining how much she meant to him. And you know what happened? She pulled further away. She started seeing him as weak, desperate, pathetic even. The man she once respected became someone she pitied. And that hurt David even more than the initial betrayal. But here's the deeper problem that nobody talks about. It wasn't just about her anymore. David had lost something far more valuable than a relationship. He'd lost respect for himself. Every time he looked in the mirror, he saw someone who had compromised his dignity, who had begged someone to value him. That's the real wound that takes years to heal. Now, let's look at this through the Stoic lens, because this is where it gets interesting. The Stoics would say David made 3 fundamental errors. And chances are, if you've been hurt, you've made these same mistakes. Mistake number 1, he gave someone else control over his peace of mind. Epictetus said, if you give external things power over you, you will be forever disturbed. David had handed his emotional remote control to someone who clearly didn't deserve it. Her actions, her words, her choices were determining his entire emotional state. That's not love, that's slavery. Mistake number 2, he attached his worth to her validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. But David had done the opposite. He measured his value by whether she chose him, whether she stayed, whether she loved him back. So when she hurt him, it didn't just hurt, it destroyed his sense of self-worth. Mistake number 3, he tried to control what he couldn't control. This is the big one. The Stoics were obsessed with this distinction. What can you control versus what you can't? David spent all his energy trying to control her feelings, her choices, her actions. He couldn't. He never could. Nobody can. And the attempt to do so only made him more miserable. Here's what most people don't understand about being hurt by someone. The hurt itself isn't the real problem. Pain is inevitable. Someone you care about will eventually disappoint you, hurt you, or leave you. That's just life. The real problem is how you respond to that hurt. Your response determines whether you grow or whether you get destroyed. Let me give you another example. Think about how most guys react when a woman hurts them. They do one of 3 things. Option 1, the revenge route. They want to hurt her back. Post things on social media to make her jealous, talk badly about her to mutual friends, maybe even try to hook up with someone else just to show her what she's missing. This feels powerful in the moment, but it's actually the weakest response possible. Why? Because it proves she still controls you. Your actions are still a reaction to her. She's still pulling your strings. Option 2, the victim route. They collapse into self-pity. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I not good enough? I'll never find someone who truly loves me. They replay the painful moments over and over, dig through old photos and messages, and basically marinate in their misery. This is just another form of giving her power. Now she's not just responsible for her actions, she's responsible for your entire emotional state and future happiness. Option 3. The avoidance route. They try to act like nothing happened. I'm fine, I don't care, she wasn't worth it anyway. They jump into work, hit the gym obsessively, or immediately try to find someone new. But here's the thing, unprocessed pain doesn't disappear. It just goes underground and comes out in other ways. Distrust, emotional unavailability, or choosing the wrong people over and over again. All 3 of these responses have something in common. They're external reactions. They're about her, about what happened, about circumstances outside your control. And that's exactly why they don't work. The Stoic approach is completely different. It's not about her at all. It's about you. It's internal, not external. And that's why it's so powerful. So let's get back to David's story because this is where it gets good. 3 months after the breakup, David was still a mess. He'd stopped working out, was barely performing at his job, and was isolating himself from friends. One night, a buddy dragged him out for coffee and gave him a book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. He almost threw it away. He said, I don't need philosophy. I need her back. But one sleepless night, he opened it randomly to a page, and he read this line. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. David read it again and again, and something clicked. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world at that time, was dealing with the same human problems. People lying to him, betraying him, using him. If he could face that with dignity and strength, what was David's excuse? He kept reading. He found Epictetus saying it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. He found Seneca writing, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." These weren't just pretty quotes. They were battle-tested wisdom from men who had suffered deeply and found a way through. And slowly, painfully, David began to shift his perspective. He started asking different questions. Not, how could she do this to me? But, what is this situation teaching me? Not, how do I get her back? But, who do I want to become? Not, why am I not enough? But, how can I reclaim my power? This is the emotional turning point that changes everything. It's the moment you stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the author of your own story. It's when you realize that her actions are about her character, not your worth. It's when you understand that your peace of mind is too valuable to hand over to anyone. David started a daily Stoic practice. Every morning, he'd write in a journal, "What can I control today?" The answer was always the same. His actions, his responses, his character, his choices. Everything else? Not his problem. When thoughts of her would flood his mind, and they still did constantly, he would acknowledge them without judgment and then redirect. She's living her life, I'm living mine. Her choices don't define me. Over and over, like a mantra. He stopped checking her social media. Not because someone told him to, but because he asked himself the Stoic question. Is this action moving me toward the person I want to become or away from it? The answer was obvious. Something profound was happening. The pain was still there, but it was changing. Instead of feeling like a wound that controlled him, it was becoming fuel. Fuel for self-improvement, fuel for growth, fuel for transformation.
6 months later, David ran into her at a mutual friend's party. His first instinct was to leave. His second was to show her how great he was doing. But then he remembered something Seneca wrote. The greatest remedy for anger is delay. So he just existed. He was polite, cordial, but not eager. He didn't try to show off or make her jealous or even tell her about his life. He simply was. Present, confident, at peace. Later, she approached him. She asked how he was. She made comments that seemed designed to gauge if he still cared, if she still had that power over him. And David responded with something that would have been impossible 6 months earlier. Genuine indifference. Not fake indifference, not pretending not to care. Actual, authentic indifference born from doing the inner work. She texted him a few days later. Long message. Wanted to talk about everything. Wanted closure. Wanted to explain her side. David looked at that message for a long time. The old David would have responded immediately, would have seen it as an opportunity. But the new David understood something the Stoics had been trying to teach him all along. Not everything deserves your energy. He didn't respond with anger. He didn't respond with paragraphs of pent-up feelings. He didn't ghost her out of spite. He simply sent back, I appreciate your reaching out. I'm in a good place now, and I'm focusing on my own growth. I wish you well. And then he meant it. That last part is crucial. He actually wished her well. Not because she deserved it, but because holding on to resentment was like drinking poison and expecting her to die. Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. David had become unlike her, and that was victory. Here's what the Stoic approach to handling hurt actually looks like in practice. First, you acknowledge the pain without being consumed by it. You don't suppress it, but you don't let it define you either. You say, yes, this hurts, and I'm strong enough to bear it. Second, you take back control of what's yours. Your mind, your responses, your actions, your character. These belong to you. Nobody gets to mess with these without your permission. Third, you focus relentlessly on your own growth. Every painful experience is raw material for building a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself. As Epictetus said, difficulty shows what men are. Fourth, you practice indifference to external outcomes. Not apathy, indifference. You care about being a good person, but you're indifferent to whether others recognize it, appreciate it, or reciprocate it. Fifth, you forgive not for them, but for you. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting bad behavior or letting someone back into your life. It means releasing the grip that resentment has on your peace of mind. Today, David is unrecognizable from the man he was a year ago. He's in better shape, doing better work, has deeper friendships, and yes, he's met someone new. But here's the key difference. His happiness isn't dependent on her. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, he'll be fine. Because he's built his peace on the only foundation that can't be shaken, his own character and self-respect. That's the power of Stoicism. It doesn't promise you a life without pain. It promises you something better, a life where pain can't destroy you. So let me ask you, where are you in your journey right now? Are you still in the raw pain phase, wondering how you'll ever feel normal again? Are you in the anger phase, fantasizing about revenge or justice? Are you in the bargaining phase, thinking about what you could have done differently? Or are you somewhere further along, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Wherever you are, I want you to know this. You're going to be okay, more than okay. If you're willing to do the work, this pain can become the catalyst for the most powerful transformation of your life. The Stoics believed that every obstacle is an opportunity. Every betrayal is a chance to build unshakable integrity. Every heartbreak is an invitation to discover the depths of your own strength. Here's your homework, and I'm serious about this. Tonight, before you go to bed, take out a piece of paper and write down 3 things you can control right now. Not 3 things you wish were different. Not 3 things you want other people to do. 3 things within your direct control. Your morning routine, your response to negative thoughts, your commitment to your own growth, something concrete. Then write down 3 things you can't control and need to let go of. Her choices, her feelings, what she thinks about you now, other people's opinions, the past. Write them down, and then, this is important, say out loud, these things are not mine to carry. This is how you begin reclaiming your power. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one Stoic principle at a time. If this video resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to keep sharing these ancient wisdom principles that actually work in modern life. And drop a comment below answering this question. What's the one Stoic principle from today's video that hit you the hardest? Was it the idea of controlling only what you can control? Was it building your peace on internal rather than external foundations? Was it the concept of transforming pain into fuel for growth? I read every single comment, and I want to hear your story. You're not alone in this. We're all on this journey together, learning to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient versions of ourselves. Remember, a woman who hurts you can either break you or build you. The Stoics would say, she's just providing the raw material. What you build from it, that's entirely up to you. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong, stay stoic, and remember, your peace of mind is the most valuable thing you own.
Guard it like your life depends on it, because, in many ways, it does.